All right, welcome back to Morning Joe. Let's get back to business here. With us now, Democratic Representative from Indiana and member of the Joint Economic Committee, Congressman Baron Hill. Congressman Hill is a lead negotiator for the Blue Dog Democrats on the House health care bill. Congressman, thanks for being with us.
It's good to be with you here this morning.
I'm sure you've heard the criticism. You guys are getting in the way of progress.
No, not at all. We want health care. We just want to make sure that it's done in a fiscally sound way. We want to cut the cost. Health care is not going to be meaningful if we don't reform the system. And so throwing a bunch of money into the system that's not reformed is the wrong thing to do. But we're going to get health care before it's all over with.
Lawrence O'Donnell is getting ready to launch into this conversation. Go, Lawrence.
Congressman, what are your deal breakers? Let me go through a couple. Will you vote against anything that has an employer mandate in it?
Well, the bill, as we've changed it, allows some exemptions for small businesses. If you got a payroll of $500,000 or less, you're not going to have to pay into this thing. So we need to make sure that small businesses are protected, and I think we've accomplished that in the proposal that we've made to the leadership. Okay,
so you would go for an employer mandate for everything above that small business threshold that you've defined?
That's correct.
And what would be the penalty for companies on the employer mandate, those who didn't provide health insurance? Would they have to pay that 8% payroll tax that has been talked about, or would it be lower?
That's the proposal right now. This is a long way off before we actually have a bill. The 8% is something that I think is negotiable, and we'll see what happens.
And what do you expect to happen over the course of the August recess, where there is no bill that has been passed in either body, so there isn't really a particular bill for you to talk about out there in your district? How are you going to handle that with your constituents who are filled with doubts and questions about this, and doubts about whether it's a good plan or whether the outcome is going to be good just keep rising according to the polls?
Well, one of the things that the Blue Dogs wanted to do was delay passage in the House. We felt like that passing a bill this soon was not a wise thing to do, because the public is not caught up with what we're trying to do here. So we need to slow down, be thoughtful and meaningful about what we're going to be doing. Now, we're going to be kicking the bill out of the Energy and Commerce Committee probably sometime today or maybe tomorrow, and that will be kind of the foundation of what we're going to be looking at, so that we can go back to our districts in the August break and listen to what people have to say about it.
And Barney Frank says he'll vote against this bill coming out of your committee if it comes out the way it's being reported right now. Can you possibly pass something on the floor of the House with Barney Frank and his side of the House opposing it?
Well, I think we need health care, and I think Barney Frank knows that we need health care as well. What it ultimately looks like, it remains to be seen. But I think that Barney and myself and the rest of the Congress understand that we're on the brink here of doing something that for over 60 years we've been trying to do, and that's reform health care. 94% of the American people want us to be successful in this, according to the polls that I've looked at, and I think we're going to get it done this time.
Now, Congressman, let's look at the politics of it, though. Usually, if you lose a Barney Frank, you will gain a moderate Republican in the House. That's just the politics of it. In this case, though, have you ID'd 10, 15, 20 Republicans, moderates, that will support your health care plan if you lose 15, 20 progressives on the Democratic side?
Well, I don't know about that, Joe. All I know is I want to stay focused on making sure that we get a health care bill passed. And I believe that all Democrats...
My point is, Congressman, if you lose, and again, I'm just talking pure politics, if you lose 20 progressives, 30 progressives, you got to find some Republicans to join you, or you're not going to pass the bill. Have you been talking and working actively with a group of Republicans?
No, not at all. We've not had any discussions and negotiations with Republicans. We invite Republicans to be a part of the solution to our health care problems that we have, but we've not had any negotiations with them.
Who would you give me a couple of names that you would target that you think are moderate Republican, like Mike Castle? Do you think could you ask Mike Castle to find 5 Republicans to come talk to you to try to build this coalition and make it bipartisan?
Well, I know Mike Castle. Mike Castle's a good man and a moderate Republican, and I think he's somebody that we can reach out to see that we get health care reform passed.
Congressman, not one of the bills that's come out of any of the committees actually provides universal coverage, 100% coverage for the country. How many people are left out in the version of the bill that you think will come out of your committee this week? Some of them have delivered bills that would leave out as many as 30 million people. Others have delivered bills that would leave out as many as 17 million people in what was supposed to be a universal coverage bill. How many are you going to leave out?
Well, I don't know the exact number. I've heard 30, I've heard 17, I've heard 8 million people are going to be left out. But my understanding is the people who are left out are actually illegal immigrants that won't be allowed to sign up for this health care plan.
Hey, Congressman, you can call Barney Frank a progressive, call him a liberal, call him whatever you want. I call him someone who really knows his congressional district. So in terms of knowing your congressional district, whether it's Barney Frank or another one of the progressives, could you go over again, explain what the small business exemption component is in the bill that you're pushing?
Well, in the proposal that we made to Henry Waxman, who's chairman of the committee, and the leadership, was to exempt businesses that have a $500,000 payroll. Anything below $500,000, they're exempted out. And that really it takes about 86% of the small businesses in this country. So 86% of the small businesses would not have to pay this 8% tax that is being proposed. But it does mean that those people who work for those businesses will still have access to health care because they'll be able to get on the exchange and have a subsidy.
All right, Congressman, thank you very, very much for joining us on the show this morning. Take care.
Good to be with you this morning.
All right. When we come back, new job